Hey guys, it's Kristina Kreep.
And Sara Stein, and we're finally,
Doing the
months
second
later,
part.
of our underrated, unseen, and under the radar movies.
Yes.
So what we do is we talk about films, and we usually have like a topic. Usually, we've only done this once.
We did Bad Bitches last time,
Yeah.
and this time we have one of my very, very favorite monster genres.
Vampires. Yes.
And mind you, we're not saying that these are necessarily unheard of movies. It's in our opinion. You know what I mean? It's strictly our opinion and things that we feel like people would like to see.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
let's go to it.
All right.
Now, this time, unlike last time, because we were so vague, we pulled up the little plot summaries from various sites so that we can give you a little bit of a better idea about what these movies are about. We were so scared of giving the whole thing away last time that we wouldn't say anything. So we're doing it right this time.
Hi.
Hi.
All right. So, what's the first one we're doing is Blood and Donuts.
Blood and Donuts. I don't know how many of y'all even remotely heard of this. It was on FearNet. That's how long ago. FearNet, a million years
Yeah.
ago, and I happened to stumble upon it, and I was like, this is such a cute vampire movie.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it came out in like 95, and until you mentioned it, I had never heard it. So if you haven't heard of it either, I was able to find it on YouTube.
yes, it's free to watch on YouTube. So I'm going to go ahead and attempt to read this little summary. A vampire named I'm already laughing. Boya is awakened from his sleep by a goofball. He has not been awake since 1969 and marvels at his new surroundings. He does not feed on humans, but instead on rats and animals. That's not completely true, by the way. Well, no. We'll see. Wait, no, we'll see. I'll just... Anyway, he meets up with a cab driver who is in trouble with some criminals and a female donut shop worker who gets stuck in the middle. Befriending them both and slowly falling in love with Molly, the donut shop girl, they take on each other's problems. He tries to protect them, but also endangers them by drawing the attention of an ex-lover from decades past who hasn't stopped looking for him in 25 years.
Yes.
I would definitely like to mention that this is almost a horror comedy. I don't know, like...
There was definitely a lot of stuff that made me laugh. Like, there are scenes where the vampire is taking a bath at the cab driver's house and having conversations while he's in the tub.
Yeah, there's like... It's almost kind of like Beetlejuice, or maybe a dark comedy.
Yeah.
A dark comedy. But with the horror elements, I just love this movie. I've always loved this movie. It's one of those weird ones that I've never seen anything else like it. Like, it's kind of standing on its own.
Yeah, one thing that definitely caught my attention right off the bat was the soundtrack, because it has all these like old like 50s songs.
Yes.
It was really good.
And it makes such a setting for the entire movie. I mean, they're supposed to, but
Yeah.
it sucks you in. It really does suck you in. And you made the funniest joke ever, by the way. When I was first telling her about it, she's like, well, I haven't seen that. I was like, well, get on it. And we were talking about him as a vampire, how he's kind of sexy.
Oh.
Kind of sexy. But I was like, but I couldn't get over his hair. And you were like, yeah, look like his hair dyed first.
Yeah.
True.
If you watch
Until
it,
he gets in the bath and it's pulled back, you're like, oh.
He is just rough looking. Rough.
He is. But it's really fun. So, let's move on because we could make this really long.
All right. So the second one we're going to talk about is Rockula.
Rockula! I feel like this is kind of on the lines of like Transylvania Twist and, Saturday the 14th. Movies like that. It just has that vibe all the way. It's definitely a horror comedy.
Definitely.
I'm going to go ahead and read this anyway. Ralph Lavie, Dean Cameron, is a friendly vampire. He's 400 years old and still lives with his mother, Phoebe, Tony Basil, who is also a vampire.
I can't help it.
You're so fun.
And she even sings in the movie. I can't help it.
Which kind of ties into our next movies, but... where was I? Who's else? Ralph is living under a curse. After meeting Mona, the girl of his dreams, 308 years ago, Ralph lost her after she was killed by her jealous boyfriend, a pirate. Since that time, Mona has been reincarnated every 22 years, only to fall in love with Ralph and die under exactly the same circumstances. Killed on Halloween by a rhinestone peg-legged pirate wielding a giant ham bone. Ralph...
Thug life.
I've like the images. Oh my god. Ralph, weary of the whole thing, vows to stay locked in his room and not meet Mona again until after Halloween. Much to the...
What's happening? What did you do?
This word, chagrin, I don't know this word.
Skip it.
Of his sentiment and libidinous reflection. Another side effect of the curse.
This movie
I want to say much to like the dismay, maybe. Much to the
that's definitely the word I thought that was going to happen. This is what happens when you let random folk write your synopsis.
I'm not even kidding. Okay, y'all can tell me if I'm crazy. Chagrin? Chagrin? I'm not crazy. This is a weird word, right?
That's not common.
Okay, so yes, go ahead, talk about the film.
Gosh. So a lady that I know named Linda, she was the person who told me about this movie, and she asked me to make her a Rockula necklace. And I was like, I don't know what this movie is. So I watched it for the first time, I think about a couple years ago. It came out in like 1990. It's freaking hilarious.
Yeah, they had it on Netflix for a hot minute.
It's on Amazon Prime right now. Prime members.
Yeah, because they had all those like films.
Yes.
For a minute on like Netflix, and they were all gone. I was like, woo.
Yeah.
Like, where'd you go?
Wreck me, I swear.
They do.
But I don't know. It's hilarious. There's so many like good conversations. Like Tony Basil has a song.
Yes,
it's
the song.
Ridiculous. It's good. I don't know. There's so many funny things about this movie.
Yeah. And I do love a good vampire comedy horror kind of thing. Like,
they're good.
My Best Friend's a Vampire. Love at First Bite.
Bites.
All those
Once Bitten.
Yeah, Once Bitten. And all of these things, like, those were like the known ones. This is the one that's under the radar. For sure. Radar. I know it's under the radar.
Definitely. I don't know. It's good stuff. One thing that was really stupid, so like they make kind of like not like the biggest deal, but he's a virgin.
Yeah.
And they're just like the tagline for like the movie was something along the lines of 400 years of virgin, tonight's the night. Or tonight might be the night.
I don't even remember that. But
it's ridiculous.
It was good.
It's ridiculous. All right.
So,
moving on.
Now we'll get to a little bit of a more serious film. The Hunger.
Oh, this was good.
What is not to fucking love about this film? Now, again, because David Bowie is in it, I feel like it really kind of was a big film, but so many people don't know what I'm talking about when I say The Hunger. So many people don't know what I'm talking about, so we have to add this in. I will go ahead and read the thing. The thing. The Egyptian vampire Lady Miriam. Don't turn off. Subsides upon the blood of her lovers. In return, the guys or girls don't age until Miriam has enough of them. Unfortunately, as if you could have enough of David Bowie, are you serious? Unfortunately, that's currently the case with John, so his life expectancy is below 24 hours. Desperately, he seeks help from the famous Dr. Sarah Roberts. She doesn't really believe his story, but becomes curious and contacts Miriam and gets caught in her ban too.
Yes.
Understatement and a fucking half.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
This is such a weird. I mean, it's a good story. It's so weird. So
it's like almost.
It's like a love triangle. It's a fucked up love triangle is the best way I can think to like explain it.
Yeah.
And the only reason that like Susan Sarandon becomes like involved or curious is because she's got this weird job, and it's something like a gentrologist or something.
Yeah, they're testing on the monkeys.
And it has to do with like blood and aging.
Yeah.
And so she kind of doesn't believe the story and becomes curious, and then before you know it, she's like
John
completely
kind of hears about her and goes to her for help when he does start aging, and she totally does not believe him, and I'm not gonna give anything away.
It's interesting. So this was something that I thought was really freaking cool. So during the course of the movie, there are scenes where for it, David Bowie had to have his voice sound very hoarse.
Yeah.
And in order to get that, he had the most bizarre thing that he did, but it was pretty badass.
I don't
So
know this.
they filmed this in New York, and he would go late at night below the George Washington Bridge, I guess it was, and he would scream at the top of his lungs like punk rock songs. And he would do that all night, and that's how he got his voice
It's
to
kind
be
of
hoarse.
like, you know, the one who did, the woman who did Reagan from The Exorcist voice, she would just drink whiskey and smoke cigarettes nonstop. Like,
Was it you? I'm kidding.
I have no whiskey. Is it you?
Yes.
Cocks in hell. But yeah, they would have her like chain smoke and drink whiskey. That's what she did in order to get that voice to do it. So yeah, people go through crazy lengths to do these things. But this movie is so phenomenal. Like, it's a must see in my opinion. It's a must see.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really feel like the full on horror vibe from it. Like a lot of these movies that we're mentioning actually, but it's just visually so pleasing. And it starts out with Bauhaus. Bela Lugosi's dead. Oh my god, like in full length. I mean, it's just so good. I just yelled at y'all.
It's very good.
But let's move along because, again, we don't want to spend too much time on any one film because we tend to get away with ourselves.
Alright, so the next one is one I haven't seen, and it's Love Bites.
Love Bites. Okay, this is one that I had to throw in, and much like, you know, The Hunger, but, you know, David Bowie being a musician, I wasn't going to say he was a lead role because obviously Miriam was, but in this one, the lead role is Adam Ant. I love Adam Ant. So I saw this movie a really, really long time ago. They used to play it on like HBO or one of those, like, I mean, this was the 90s. Like, I used to watch it and be like, this movie's awesome, and then just disappeared. But I'll read this, sorry, I'm going on ahead of myself. The vampire Zachary Sims wakes up in his coffin after having overslept for 100 years.
Oops.
In the house lives young Kendall Gordon. Sims is amazed over how much has changed the past century, but Kendall's boyfriend doesn't like the guy who always follow Kendall around. Okay, again, way to take something off. It says follow. It should say follows. Follows Kendall around. We literally copy paste off of like Wiki and those things. So anyway, this movie again. I've seen this. She hasn't. She's just kind of like, God damn it. Like Christina's talking again. I love this movie. It's definitely a horror comedy. Way more on the comedy side. This is very in line with like, you know, My Best Friend's a Vampire. Those kinds. Like it doesn't have any real horror element to it at all. No music element, surprisingly. Baby. Lydia's awake. There's no music element, considering that it's Adam Ant. And I don't know.
He's making a contribution.
So, okay, there goes my train of thought. This movie is just so much fun. Basically, he wakes up
just like Lydia.
And he is in his crypt, but his crypt happens to be somehow in the apartment in New York of Kendall. So hilarity ensues. Basically, like, she's free. Oh my god. I want your like banter with me right now. Like when he wakes up and like he's so clueless, and she's like, "What are you doing in here?" He's like, "Madam, I have to sleep." And he gets in bed and like he's like, "Kindly wake me when, you know, the sun goes down." And she's like, "Are you out of your mind?" I don't know. I can't think. I have a baby screaming. Maybe not.
She's waiting for a response.
Yeah, I know.
Told you. Waiting for a response.
All right, next one where Sarah can talk more because this is not going to work well.
Oh, jeepers.
Good fucking Lydia.
Okay. So the next one is a film that came out called The Hamiltons. This is one that recently had a sequel that was released called The Thompsons. But this was there was a series of films that came out around like 2006.
Yeah, and it was the After Midnight.
Yeah.
Oh no, After Dark horror series. And it was Fangoria's, and they did that for quite some time.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, she just like belted. She like was like growling.
There's so many good ones. So this one's about, you have like 4 adult children, and their parents have died in some accident, and they're always moving, and you see that they're just, it seems like they're trying to fend for themselves, and you have like the main character is one of the siblings named Francis, and he has a camera, and he's kind of trying to do like some weird film project for school, and then
he's definitely more timid about the situations that are going on, for sure.
Like, there's so much stuff that is kind of unanswered till the end of the film, and you find out, like, so a big portion of the film is one of the siblings has abducted 2 girls. Yeah. And Francis is going and talking to them, and he's trying to befriend one of them. Yeah. And you find out that there's something else in the cellar where they're keeping the girls that they need to feed. And you're not really sure what that is until pretty much the very end of the movie. And it's one of those things where you kind of feel like you know what's going on, but you don't at the same time. And the siblings are so weird. The twins are weird as shit in that movie. So uncomfortable. It's like Wendell and something.
The moment, oh my god. When they have the friend that comes home and oh my
and they're playing like Truth or Dare.
Yeah, and then just watch. I was like, I have a brother. I was like gagging in my mouth. I was like, are you
kidding me? Yeah. Oh, it's weird.
We just talked about this.
I know. It was very, very strange. But it was a really good movie. Like, I liked it. I liked how it, like, made, like, its turn. You watched the sequel, right? The Thompsons?
Of course. I watched the Thompsons, and they kind of pick up exactly where they left off. Oh. They're further along in life, and they're all in different areas at that point. But they have to come together.
Yeah, because I remember when the first one ends.
I don't want to say too much. That's why I like using these synopsis.
Like,
I hate...
the name of the next movie, you find out why at the end of the first one. Yeah.
So, I really loved the Thompsons as well. And I wanted to put on the list, but we realized, like, that would kind of be a cop-out, like...
Yeah.
So...
Let's
move along. And the last one, I don't have to look, is my favorite of this list.
Yeah.
Shadow of the Vampire. Shadow of the Vampire. I want some Nick.
You can't have any.
I think we quoted that more in high school than like any other thing. Probably. All the time.
A lot.
I'm going to go ahead and read the little synopsis though. Mm-hmm. Shadow of the Vampire is a film about the making of a German all-time classic silent horror movie from 1922 called Nosferatu.
Sorry, go ahead.
Actually, A Symphony of Horror. What?
Just go ahead. What?
The production of Nosferatu, Symphony of Horror. The production of Nosferatu had to deal with a lot of strange things. Some crew members disappeared, some died. This movie focuses on the difficult relationship between, and this is what I can't pronounce. God damn it. Murnau.
Sure.
And the director and Shrek, the lead actor. And Shrek was played by Willem Dafoe. Amazing. I mean, he made such a great Count Orlok. There's this movie, because again, it has the comedy aspect. It really does, in like really subtle ways, very dark comedy. But this movie was so, if you love Nosferatu, Symphony of Horror, it's like, I love the remake, the 70s remake. Yeah. I was a really big fan of that one. I saw that well before I ever saw Symphony of Horror. It's just a must-see. It's such a must-see. And I guess it's not giving anything away. The whole point is Shrek is actually a vampire playing a vampire. Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's hilarious.
I know you have a lot to say.
There is so much going on. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous.
There is.
And the director, who's John Malkovich, he starts to, like, suspect this. And so the scene where we were just, like, quoting, where he's like, I want some makeup, he's telling him, like, you can't have any because he kind of fears for the crew members' lives at this point. It's hilarious. And when they kind of let him know, like, what this role is, they have him read Bram Stoker's Dracula. Yeah. As, like, a reference. And he's like, how did it make you feel? And he's like, I was sad. And they're like, why? And he goes, he had no servants. Like,
and, like, at the same time, I think it's, like, kind of important to mention, he was definitely kind of falling for it in this weird, like, bloodlust way.
Yes.
For the main actress that he was co-starring with in the film.
What's a vampire movie without some type of romantic aspect?
Yeah, I know, exactly. This one is, I love this film. I love this film. I still have it on VHS. I keep saying that. This is where Sarah and I kind of compliment each other or work well together, because when I get excited, I'm just like, I love it, it's so great. And she's like, let me give you all the details. It's
Oh
true,
my
though.
gosh.
It's so true. Because we definitely watched it together in high school at one point. I mean, like, more than once, probably.
Yeah, definitely.
There was some VHS action going on. It's...
So much stuff. That was it for our list.
That was it for our list. And we made it through despite Lydia kind of interrupting.
It happens.
I think she went back to bed. She threw me off. I was like,
What?
what?
It's okay.
Squirrel?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Dave, look, a cow. Like, sorry, that's what they do in Titus.
All right. So this is our second installment. We will come back with another. If you guys actually have any suggestions, we haven't thought of our next installment of unseen, underrated, and unheard of movies.
We've thought of lots of movies, but we haven't grouped them together.
Yeah, and
really.
we definitely want to keep this within, you know, like a genre and keep it together. So if you guys have suggestions, let us know, because I'm sure we definitely have films. We definitely have films that we can talk about.
Absolutely.
So put it in the comments down below.
If you guys like this video, please give us a thumbs up.
Also, I wore my Barlow shirt for the vampire one. I know, I'm like way too low down.
I love that the whole time it looks like the hand from Idle Hands has been like grabbing. So
like
silly.
The Toy Story page. Sorry. Without my bangs.
So silly.
Somewhere. I'm somewhere.
Can't even.
I can't. Man, Coors Light. I was having a bad night. I decided to fix it by drinking cold, cheap beer because it's too freaking hot in Maryland to even touch wine, which is my go-to. So, any which way, please, again, comment down below. Let us know what's going on.
That's right. Comment, like, subscribe. You know that. What are you doing? Who are you waving to?
I'm saying bye because I feel like I'm done.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, guys. Until next time. Bye.
Bye.